The National Assembly is debating the issue of zamas as a matter of national importance. Let's take you live to Parliament.
Democratic Alliance hereby calls upon the Ministry and the Minister of Employment and Labour and NEDLAC to be extremely cautious when granting permission for mass protest action of this nature to take place. It makes matters worse. Every time we have a protest, the economic situation in South Africa comes to a standstill, and to a large degree, these protests are extremely counterproductive, and to the entire business community, it makes things worse. And indeed, it makes things worse for the fiscus. On behalf of the Democratic Alliance, thank you.
The EFF.
Chairperson, it is a tragic reality that there's a minister who sits in this house carrying the responsibility of leading the higher education sector, and through this responsibility sends out young, brilliant minds to study medicine in Russia, only for them to starve because the department he is leading is crumbling devastatingly while he pretends to have everything under control. Minister Blaine Zimande, we have written to you. We have released statements to you. We have made follow-ups to your department regarding the continuous unacceptable behavior that sees young people who are promised that their education needs will be catered for by the money of taxpayers, but end up running after you to see the most basic of their needs to be met. And even then, your nonchalance and ungrounded arrogance remains the order of the day. If you didn't know, because you don't take MP calls, you don't respond to MP letters, and you sure don't bother to be involved in the department you're leading, except to read notes written for you that you've never seen before to us in Parliament. Our medicine students in Russia are starving. They are homeless. They don't have academic tools, and these are the same people you use to brag about when asked about the department's efficiency. All remaining students who haven't, must without fail receive their stipends until they complete the academic journey every single month without fail, starting from today. Ensure that their traveling costs and administration related issues are resolved by the end of business today. No medicine student who's meant to be in Russia should be compromised academically because a simple task of buying flight tickets for them seems a big task when confronted by your department. No student that is sent to distant lands by the ANC government should ever have
your
to be
time is now expired. Thank you. ANC. The ANC.
Thank you very much, House Chair. The Democratic Alliance, which proclaims, can I repeat? The Democratic Alliance, which proclaims itself to be a party building a future based on freedom, fairness, opportunity, and diversity for all, is not living to its lofty pronouncement, with some of its black members leaving its ranks. The latest member to resign from the DA is the former party leader in
Honorable member, can you just hold it there? Honorable Hadebe, I thought we were going to give them, your own member, opportunity to complete the statement, and then I would have recognized you. What is the urgency of the point of order that you want to raise?
The opposition is running here. We cannot even hear our member reading the statement.
Honorable members.
But not drown the speaker.
Honorable members.
You are a stupid fool.
Can I
Honorable members. Honorable members. Honorable members on both sides of the House. Can we respect the speaker that's on the floor? It's common courtesy. If you don't hear what is being said, how can you respond to it? Please continue, Honorable Member.
Thank you very much, House Chair. The latest member to resign from the DA is the former party leader in the Northern Cape, Andrew Law, who is also a former member of the National Assembly, arguing that he can no longer identify with the party. This view was also shared by the former DA leader in the Free State, Patricia Kopani, who also recently resigned from the Democratic Alliance. Lau alleges that as a provincial leader, he would charge both black and white people, but only cases of black people would be taken up for disciplinary processes. He alleges that the charges of white party members who disappear in the middle of nowhere. Other leaders who recently left the party over unhappiness around its current political direction and identity include Makashule, Ghana, Mbalintuli, Bongani Baloyi, Phumzile van Dam, and Abel Tahu. As African National Congress, we are not swayed by the words or opposition parties such as the Democratic Alliance take in falsely claiming to build an unracial and equal South Africa, when in actual fact they practice the opposite. They show their hands in tokenism and window dressing when it comes to these matters, but are soon exposed for what they truly stand for, and that is preserving historic white privilege. I thank you, House Chair.
The IFP.
Thank
Order,
you,
honorable members.
Thank you, Honorable House Chair. The relationship that South Africa has with alcohol is increasingly reaching disastrous
Honorable
proportions.
member, can you just turn the mic towards you, please?
Towards me?
Yeah, and speak into it, yeah.
The relationship that South Africa has with alcohol is increasingly reaching disastrous proportions. If we are not careful, we will not succeed in overcoming many of the social ills that this country is grappling with. South Africa faces a myriad of socio-economic challenges, which include but not are limited to a high unemployment rate, poverty, crime, and fatal alcohol syndrome. All can be directly linked to the country's general attitude to the relationship with alcohol. According to the World Health Organization, South Africa ranks amongst the highest alcohol consumers in the world and the highest for fatal alcohol spectrum disorder and deaths. Many factors contribute to this, but perhaps the most noteworthy is poverty. People live in extreme poverty, may not be able to afford alcohol purchased from legal and regulated breweries. Therefore, they resort to the consumption of self-concocted home brews, most of which are not safe for human consumption. This is most common in townships and rural areas. Recently, there has been a slew of shooting at taverns across the country, in some cases resulting to fatalities. Young people give up their hopes and dreams and drown their sorrows in alcohol. As the IFP, we call on the government to make a concerted effort through its various departments to ensure that we find a clear and effective solutions. We must avert these dangers that is slowly eating away at the very fiber of our soul and our society. I thank you.
Thank you. The FF Plus.
Thank you, House Chairperson. On the 7th of July, the Freedom Front Plus has requested the Human Rights Commission to investigate the inhuman treatment of patients that took place in state hospitals after various media reports about this matter appeared in the last few months. The Freedom Front Plus also requested the public to come forward if they have been victims of poor treatment and poor circumstances in these institutions. And thus far, the Freedom Front Plus has received over more than 500 complaints across the country. And in one day, we have received more than 10 complaints about one hospital in the Eastern Cape. The Freedom Front Plus will request the Human Rights Commission to investigate these matters as well and take the necessary steps to hold government accountable, and the Freedom Front Plus will fight back against poor healthcare in South Africa. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you. The ANC.
Thank you very much, House Chair. The Committee on Fisheries, a subsidiary body of the Fisheries and Agricultural Organization of the United Nations, is the only global international forum where the FAO members meet to review and consider issues and challenges related to fisheries and aquaculture. The Committee on Fisheries will be hosting its 35th session this year from the 5th to the 9th of September in Rome in Italy. This is the first in-person event since the COVID-19 pandemic began in 2020. Masifundise, an organization whose focus is promoting and strengthening food sovereignty in the context of coastal and inland fishing communities, stated that what makes this coffee process significant is the fact that small-scale fisheries movements and civil society can now lobby, advocate, and inform states on issues that impact the small-scale fishing sector. A preparatory workshop of the SSF movement will be held, led by the International Planning Committee for Food Sovereignty Committee, which will take place from the 31st and the until the 4th of September. Masifundise presented the socio-economic rights project during the coffee process as an example of how other countries can move forward to implement the guidelines. The ANC wished them well and hopes that their participation will bear positive fruits and fish for all. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The DA.
Thank you, Chair. This is Member Hasina Isma, proud member of the DA. The issue of community service doctors not being placed and paid timelessly has become a major concern. In addition, community service doctors have not received salary increases since 2019. Failures with the Department of Health's internship and community service program systems have resulted in placements being released late or in married couples or couples with children being separated. Discrepancies with registration fees and deposits have also been highlighted by many community service doctors, leading to many ending up paying much more than the correct amounts. Minister, strict measures need to be put in place to address the concerns and issues our healthcare workers are experiencing. Given the current high rate of vacancies in the public healthcare sector, it is of utmost importance that the minister addresses these matters as a matter of urgency, as we need all our community service doctors to be placed and paid as they are on the front line of ensuring effective service delivery to the public healthcare sector. Thank you.
Thank you. The UDM.
Chairperson, thank you very much. Education has a crucial role to play to contribute massively to a country's development. For the longest period, we have been complaining and raising an issue about what seems to be an apparent neglect of TVET colleges around the country. Most TVET colleges have been plagued with infrastructure problems and poor management capacity problems. Yet this has gone to the extent where the quality of the education is perceived low, especially by the private sector, and lecturers are inadequately trained, which results to a stigma attached to students who attend them. The department want to put it squarely that the department is failing TVET students in TVET colleges because there's also a concerning lack of technological advancements in different areas of specialization. The majority of campuses located in rural areas and small towns have no accommodation. Students have to find their own accommodation or crowd in on a few available rooms. Unfortunately, students end up staying in spaces that are not safe or conducive for learning, and yet at the end of the year, they're expected to pass and meet NFSA's requirements. You will also recall that some of the challenges facing higher education institutions is one of offering programs that are not accredited. There seems to be general chaos that dominates especially the historically disadvantaged institution. One such example is where at WUSU recently, where 221 students who graduated for 5 unaccredited courses that no one has been held to account.
All right, so we come out of that National Assembly debate where a myriad of issues are being discussed. We're going to go for a quick break.